I'm Nye from Finale Guitar in Sheffield, and you're watching Folk Friend, your one-stop shop for Celtic backing guitar tutorials. This video is aimed at complete beginners to the world of Irish fingerstyle guitar, or people who are generally used to strumming along with tunes but want to have a go at using some finger-picking patterns to accompany reels. What I'm going to be showing you are two of the very simplest reel plucking patterns which you can use with any chord to strum along or pluck along with a reel that you hear. I'm going to be using my Playalong series, which is a brand new series of videos I've been working on recently, in which I play tunes at 3 different speeds: slow, medium and session speed, and I show you the chords on the screen in kind of karaoke style so you can practice playing along at home. So today's video is going to be based around the chords for a tune called Maid Behind the Bar, a very common Irish reel you hear all the time. It's in D major. You can find a little link to that in the card in the corner of the screen so that you can practice along with this video, and the chords are all on there as well. If you enjoy this video, please hit the little subscribe button down there. You will get all my free Celtic guitar tutorials straight to your inbox. Hit the little bell as well, because it won't tell you otherwise when I post things. You've got to hit the little bell, otherwise you don't get notifications. But every Thursday I'll be posting a free Celtic guitar lesson, much like this one. I've posted loads already. You can find them all in the playlist, which is linked in the corner of the screen. As well as that, I do Folky Fridays every week, which is a free live stream lesson where you can ask me any questions you have, suggest any topics you want to see me talk about in future, and just generally chat to other guitarists on there as well. So tune in for that if you fancy having a look at some live stream lessons. As well as that, I also am posting a new play-along video at the moment every Saturday. I'll be doing that for a couple more weeks yet, and then after that I'll be making loads more, which you'll be able to buy through my brand new website, which should be out in time for Christmas. So more news on that coming very soon. Lots of exciting stuff going on. Hit the little subscribe button and you'll get it all straight to your inbox. Last thing from me, if you could hit the little thumbs up button down there, that really helps me out as well, because YouTube show my videos to more people if you click that. So go and do that now, and let's get to some real strumming patterns. The first pattern I want to show you today is very, very simple. When you add all the little augmentations to it that I'm going to show you, it sounds something like this. So it's really very easy. All you need to do is line up your 3 strongest fingers with the top 3 strings, and then put your thumb on whatever the root note of the current chord is. So the first chord that we're going to use is a D chord, and the D chord, the root note, would you believe, is the D string. So I'm going to put my thumb on the D string there, and then I'm going to line up my top 3 fingers like that. And so what I'm going to do is pluck the thumb first and then the other 3 strings. Simple. The next chord in the tune is G. So for G, the root note is on the bottom string. The root note, by the way, is the note that the chord is named after, and you'll usually find that that is the lowest note in the chord. So generally, if you've got a chord where you don't play the bottom string, for example, then your thumb would want to be on the A string. So like if you play a C chord or an A chord or something like that, then your thumb goes on the A string. If you're playing a G chord or an E chord or similar, then your thumb goes on the bottom string. And if you're playing a D chord, because D is the root note, your thumb goes on the D string. Anyway, the next chord is G, so we're going to go like that for G with our thumb on the bottom string. And then after that we've got an A chord, so the thumb moves to the A and the others stay where they were. So I'll just give you a very quick demo of how that would sound with the tune played slowly. If you want to make that pattern a little bit more interesting, you can alternate your bass notes. There are several options for this. The simplest option is to change between the root note and its fifth. So with a D chord, for example, if D is the root, you go through the notes of a D scale, D, E, F sharp, G, A, until you get to the fifth one, and A is therefore the fifth. So for D, my thumb could change between D and A to make the pattern more interesting, so that would sound like something like that. So that's one option, and the other option is that you can also use the third of a chord if you want to. So for D, D, E, F sharp. So you could get that with a D chord by looping your thumb around the back, so you could do something like that with the thumb on the second fret. So either of those are a nice option, and particularly the second option leads very well into a G chord. So that kind of thing. The next chord in this particular tune is going to be a G chord. So for G, G's fifth is D, G, A, B, C, D. And there is a D string, which is convenient, so I could do something like that with my thumb jumping between the G and the D. Or the other option is G's third, which is B, so I could jump my thumb to the A string where my index finger is fretting the second fret, and that is a B note, so that gives me something like that. So either of those would be a perfectly good option. And then for the A chord, which is the next chord in this tune, I'm going to be wanting to do something like this. Because the third of A is C sharp, which is very hard to reach here. I'd have to do something like that. Very difficult. But A's fifth is E, which is very convenient because it's the adjacent string, so I can do like that. So I'll give you another little demonstration now. I'm going to play along with the same slow tune loop following the chords that it shows on the screen, and this time I'm going to alternate my bass notes. If you're a connoisseur of patterns and you're picky about them, thank you, I'm here all week, then the next pattern that you could have a go at sounds something like this. That kind of thing. This one is slightly more complicated than the previous one, but not too much. What you're going to do to begin with, we're going to do exactly the same chord progression as before. Start out with D, thumb on the D string, line up your three strongest fingers with the top three strings, and you're going to do, for the D chord, like that. That there was thumb, index, middle, ring finger, and that is half a bar of the chord. So if you've got half a bar of the chord, then you do, and if you've got a whole bar of the chord, you do it twice. Like that. If you're doing this pattern, I suggest for the G chord that you move your thumb to the bottom string, because that's G's root note, but then you also move your three strongest fingers each down a string. There's two reasons for that. Reason number one is that with your fingers in this position, you've got your little finger which can just rest on the string and act as a little anchor to help those fingers get back to the right string to pluck when the note has finished ringing. And the other reason is that every time you change strings, you end up stopping the top string from ringing if you're plucking the top string every time. So things like this happen. See how that top string is getting cut off every time I change chord. Whereas If you're doing the D, G and B strings for every chord other than D, then that problem is eliminated. So that sounds like that kind of thing. The only reason you have to do the top 3 strings on the D chord is that your root note being D means that there are only 3 higher strings available to you. But for all the other chords in this pattern, I suggest you use those lower strings like I've just shown you. For A, it's the same deal. Your thumb is going to move to the A string and the others are going to stay where they are. So that's 1 bar of A, something like that. So if I just play along with the slow play along once through the tune, you'll get an idea of how that sounds. With the root notes then, the same thing applies to this. You can make the pattern more interesting by alternating your root notes in the ways that I suggested before. So with D, you can go from D to the 3rd with the thumb looped around the back, or you can go from D to its 5th, which is A, by going to the A string. So that would give you either or something like that. For G, you can go to the 3rd or to the 5th, and for A, really your only option is the 5th, which is E on the bottom string. So those are several ways you can make that pattern more interesting. So I'm going to play along once more with the tune on the slow setting, and I'm going to use those root notes to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed these simple patterns and you found them fairly easy, then you might like to have a look at next week's clip, in which I'm going to be covering how to use the American style claw hammer technique to back Irish and Scottish reels. I have actually used that in my book as well, Irish Tunes for Fingerstyle Guitar. I used the pattern in my arrangement of John Ryan's polka, which is in there. So if you're interested in finding out more about my folk tune arrangements, go and check that out. It's linked in the card in the corner of the screen. It does have complete playing instructions as well as tablature and sheet music for all of my arrangements of 10 classic Irish tunes, and kind of guide to how to actually finger them and how to pick them all as well for some of the more advanced plucking patterns that I've used in it. Other stuff, I've written several books, I've invented an amazing mode wheel. They're all very, very good. Go and have a look at them as well if you want to learn more about backing Irish music. And I've made lots of these videos. If you enjoyed this one, hit the little subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I release a new tutorial every Thursday at 7:30 PM. And I'm going to be back next week, as I said, talking about claw hammer. If you like these kinds of things and you would like to ask me any questions that you've got, then tune in for Folky Fridays, which is every Friday from 5:30 PM UK time. You can find that on the Folk Friend YouTube channel. Just hit the little subscribe button down in the corner there, hit the little bell next to it, and you'll be informed when we start streaming. You can also follow the Folk Friend Facebook page, which is in the box down below. On there you'll find details of whatever I'm up to, along with my various live streams and videos as soon as they're available. So go and check that out if you want to keep up with what Folk Friend's doing. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Nye, I'll be back next week. Till then, happy playing, and I'll see you all soon.